Welcome to episode 5 of Quadocast, the first installment of the election candidate interview series. First up are 2 different candidates running in Britannia. Let's dive right in to learn more from them. I want to thank you guys for giving me a call to discuss your thoughts on Quadocast about your candidacy in Britannia. I have here with me Len Giacone and Frank Garcia, who had each independently reached out, and I did suggest, hey, why don't we do something really new and go 2 first? So my understanding, you each are independents that had recently decided to submit your names in for the election in Britannia this year. Welcome so much.
I've been here since 2021, so I'm relatively new. There's been some positive things that I've been part of here at Britannia. I was part of the elevator committee. I have to say it was pretty successful. We were able to...
We'll get to that. Give me a rundown of any other committees.
I was also part of the lobby committee.
So Len, let me ask you your background. What I recall reading on your bio was that you have 25 or more years, both as in all various forms of project management in multi-million projects spanning from school districts and other industrial commercial entities and ecosystems, and also an architect background. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, I'm a registered architect, but I also have an MBA. With both of those strengths, I decided to start my own firm.
A general MBA or in business finance. Or finance? Oh, finance. Okay, finance.
Yeah.
Oh, great. That's like a twofer. Yeah. An architect and you know the numbers too. That's right. Great.
So that allowed me to not only do architectural work, but it also, I'm a real estate investor.
Yeah.
And own, real estate. And so it allowed me to that's kind of my passion. It kind of gets me excited. So
let me ask you, forget about Quadocast for a minute.
Right.
You as an architect living in South Florida, understanding the times we're facing here and all the condos across the land, do you have an opinion of construction and what we're facing in the next few years, or how you might approach dealing with some of these challenges of, structural reserve, life safety, integrity reserve rather, or any other issues, sprinklers or other issues that are coming up? Is that all familiar ground based on your prior experience?
That's a very good question. And not only do I do traditional architecture, design and construction documents, but I also do consulting work for lenders, for third-party people that are looking to buy properties. So they hire me to go out and do what we call a property condition assessment. So I'm going out there, looking at the building,
right,
taking notes, taking photos, because everything has an estimated useful life, all building materials, right?
Right.
So I write a report, I submit it to my client, and they, so I have immediate items and reserve items in this report.
So that report helps them to get better financing or revolving credit or that kind of thing.
Or institutional investors, right, banks, and stuff like that. Okay. So,
and we'll get to the committee stuff later. Frank, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good. Happy New Year and everything. So help me understand. I know you've seen both sides of it living in, when did you buy into Britannia?
Same year, 2021. Yes.
Okay. And you've been on both sides. You've been just unit owner, and you had also served on the board for either one or...
For 2 years. 2 years in a row, yes. 22 and 23.
So what does the view look like being on the board side versus not being on the board side? What are the differences about that experience?
Let me tell you, when I moved in 2021, I went to a meeting, and I was shocked to see that, with the 5 board members, the total audience was around 8 people.
Wow. Yeah.
Or 10 people, max.
Is that because they were scheduling meetings in the afternoon or something like that?
No.
Just in general, so there was
the participation was nihil, was ridiculous. So I thought, how come a 203 unit building has only 12 people in a meeting?
Yeah.
So I decided, well, maybe things need to change. We need to promote more, the artists. Today, I know that we have at least like 30, 40 people in each meeting.
Well, that's great to see a better turnout. So when you were there serving, you've kind of developed a revolving line of credit. How did that help
I've been
the association?
Thank you. I've been in the financial business for several decades. I was an executive director of banks. So I noticed that in case of an emergency, instead of going for an assessment, if you have a line of credit that it's on hold, you're not paying for it if you're not using it. That's a solution that a lot of my...
It's a way to defer costs.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, after we approved it in 2022, we got a really good deal. We got prime minus. That's unheard of because I negotiated with Truist Bank.
I'd assume going forward, sorry to interrupt, but we're in a high interest rate environment. Wouldn't it make doing a revolving line of credit more important than ever if rates are on the path down, that it could be converted to a loan at lower rates at a later date? Would this be an important tool?
Absolutely, because you're based on prime rate. And if the rates go down, prime rate goes down. So for instance, we only use this revolving credit, as far as I know, in one emergency situation where we meaning the board at that time, didn't have the money to pay the salaries.
Yeah.
So we paid the salaries, and 4 days later we had the money,
right?
And we just paid 4 days of interest, and that was like less than $10. A
very efficient, smart move. Let me ask you, I independently noticed in your budget this year, and I put it in a previous Quadocast, that there was I'd never seen anything like it. There was a line item for capital expenditure for $55,000 for balconies, which blew my mind. First of all, you think balconies probably cost a little more than $55K, but what the heck is that doing there? Was that a surprise to you guys when you saw it? And what's that about? In what world would that be acceptable accounting practices?
In my opinion, that's not acceptable at all. Especially what I do these capital studies that I was telling you about, these PCAs, and to put that into a budget is like, it's not building industry standards.
Or unheard of. Now, is that something that came up? Not to dive in the weeds. First of all, just to those that might be listening, I do not live in Britannia. I do not know the details. Again, I'm trying to, moderate and facilitate to any who want to speak about their experiences. So it was more, I guess, a curiosity question. Was this something that came up before the budget was passed, or in a meeting, or discussed, or that slipped through?
Excellent question. Well, the last meeting that was this month. I don't recall the day, but I think it was December 19th, month, December 19th. I brought up this because I wrote a letter of inquiry that was stamped, and I never got the answer. So
you saw it beforehand, and you were attempting to ring the bell on that.
Yes. So I raised this question, and here's the question. Why is the $55,000 capital project for balconies including the operating budget?
Right.
If it's a capital budget, shouldn't this amount be shown below the total operating expense line, especially if it's not expected to be a recurring expense?
So you're saying, as a unit owner, you brought this up in advance to board, and it fell on deaf ears, and they did it anyway?
They did it anyway, and they kind of this is official. It's on the minutes.
Wow.
They completely disregarded.
Wow.
Almost like you don't know what you're talking about. So what I did was I consulted the BPR.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I spoke with a gentleman there that he confirmed that this is not...
No way, Jose.
No way, Jose.
Got it.
Let's
appreciate that. Let's, for the sake of time, move on, because you mentioned, and Frank, real quick, what committees, when you were not on the board, might, if at all, have served on in the last year or two? Do you have committees there? You mentioned elevator and lobby. Are there other committees, or?
Well, I was on both as well.
Okay,
yeah.
So you were both on both committees recently.
Yes.
So let's start talking about it. Was there anything eventful or noteworthy, say, with the elevator committee, or is that business as usual? Is there anything you would want to share on that, or is it more about the lobby?
Well, that was on the past, but there was like a frenzy on every single building, not only ours, that everyone was changing the elevators.
Yeah, we went through ours here.
Yeah,
It took a while. Well, we had 2 buildings. It must have been at least a year and a half. Frustrating, but it's part of the kind of living.
Right? Grenoble, yeah?
Yeah, Grenoble, and they did Valencia too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and previously they did Catania. So the thing is, in our building particularly, we had a renovation in 2017.
Recent. Yeah.
Not. We didn't change the elevators,
right?
But they went through they were renovated. So after 4 or 5 years, you want to change the whole thing. So Leonard and I, and other,
meaning it's just strictly another remodeling job, or the cabs
They
themselves.
wanted to do a major.
No, they wanted the whole
Was
shebang.
that
So
warranted
what
because of
Frank
electric and
I
drives?
strategized was, let's get some other consultants in, because this was based on the existing service elevator company.
Right.
And so being in the industry, I brought in a couple people that I work with, and they came and inspected the building, and he says, Len, you don't need a new elevator system, so we, based on that, we brought it back to the committee and say, hey, Frank and I have looked at, met with these guys, and they're saying it's not required. So they finally, after many discussions, kind of agreed. And
it was a unanimous through the committee that we did not.
So there's consensus with the committee to make recommendations that we're going a little too far.
Too far.
Well, then what happened after? Were those recommendations taken into account?
We use a company that maintains the elevators, and they're doing a good job. So that was our point. We don't need to change the whole thing. Let's let them do their job.
You gave that info to the board. How did they respond? Did they agree with your recommendations?
Reluctantly, but they
okay.
agreed. So we didn't spend the money. That's the bottom line.
Yes.
Well, hey,
and it was
stick save. Thanks.
It was
for the committee, right?
7 figures
right.
Money.
Yeah, no, it is a serious job for sure. Yeah. Let's talk about lobby committee. I had heard different things. Look, I don't know much, and just the limited understanding I had was there were frustration because there were recommendations that might not have been heard, or some people one at a time were starting to leave the committee. Was it officially disbanded? Does it exist, or it just petered out because there was too much disparity between recommendations and what is or isn't being contemplated? Like what? Let me step back, since I obviously don't know. What might you want to share about your experiences on the lobby committee?
Okay, well, I'm going to be very clear that it was extremely disappointing, because all the members of the committee worked more than 2 years to the lobby modernization. And the moment the renovation started, this was August of 2024. We were completely disregarded, and that's highly disrespectful. Not even a notice. Every single email that we sent, no response.
How many people were on the committee?
7 people, and they were all disrespected. Like there was nothing.
So it was more than a majority. Nearly everyone on the committee that was not a board member felt.
We had 2 board members plus 7 committee members
on top of the 2.
On top of the 2.
Okay,
yes.
and of the 7, an overwhelming consensus had similar experiences.
Yes. Everyone got better because our opinion didn't matter. After like my wife and I, we researched. We went to the stores. We did spreadsheets. Hours and hours. That was not.
Let me ask you: were you reporting lobby committee updates at board meetings, or was the rest of the unit owners aware of this back and forth or the tension?
No, there was
this. Do they even know?
There was a drive. There was like a Google Drive that was created for the lobby renovation, and all information was there. Everything that we discussed.
For just the committee, or for all unit owners?
For just the committee.
I'm asking about the unit owners. Are most of the unit owners of Britannia aware of the tensions that most recommendations have been ultimately ignored?
Excellent question. No, but what happened was, instead of doing like a research between the owners, there was one day that they opened the office. They meaning the board member,
Sure.
the board, where you're more than happy to come here and see samples and this and that.
Right.
But that doesn't show the whole picture.
Right.
So actually, it was very misleading, because I was traveling. The owners that went there, and Leonard was one of them, right? Mm-hmm. They came out with the impression that in November, the lobby would be ready, And
what percent complete is it today?
I have no idea.
We have no idea.
It's under lock and key.
Wow. So it's like clampdown. This is under total board control. The committee doesn't even matter anymore. Does the committee even exist?
No. Basically, no.
Was it officially disbanded, or was it because no one showed up?
No. We were very interested in participating, but the board kind of turned their back on us and said, we're going to do this our way.
Right.
I'm sure
right.
you have, as an owner here, I'm not talking about Britannia, but this happens a lot. That
some committees have petered out. There have been different reasons. I've seen it for communications committees, example, or other kinds of committees. Understandable, and that it's well within the realm of happening. It's sad for something so important is happening like that, and then there's probably blow up on the budget on that as well, which might be another issue. Just for the sake of time, I forgot exactly when we started, but kind of quick. I want to kind of let's consider ourselves on third base. With that said, what's on your mind by way of things I have not asked, by way of questions, or what kind of maybe closing remarks might each of you have that were not addressed or asked?
Well, I'm kind of eager to participate on the board of governors. Based on my career.
And this is Len Giacone?
Yeah,
is your name?
Len Giacone, yeah.
Architect, great.
Yeah. I'm eager to contribute to the continued success and growth of our condominium community.
Yeah.
Throughout my career, I've kind of emphasized collaboration and openness, which hasn't happened recently. So I hope to foster that if I get elected to the board. We'll have to kind of wait and see, but
I could definitely understand that it's a hard principle, at least in my experiences here. There are at times collaborative spirits. There are other times where most of the community is just locked out. So hopefully that's a refreshing thing to bring to it. What's your view on committees? Like, if you're all about project management and construction, do you envision a need for a construction committee or other committees?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm open to collaborating with people and getting to participate and then planning and implementing and budgeting for those kind of things.
What's not happening and what do you want to happen?
Well, what's happening now is that the expenses are not being controlled. Okay, so it's not spend.
Right.
So it's interesting, because I asked the treasurer of Britannia in the last meeting, the difference, what's the opposite of saving money? Because they mentioned the word saving like 7 times. Oh, we're saving here, we're saving there. And I have proof. Numbers don't lie.
Got it.
There's no line here that we're saving money.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is you're sorely missing fiscal discipline over there, and you have the expertise to bring the fiscal discipline needed to get it done.
That's why I accepted, to run. We need change. We need to change.
So that's the passion, the main motivator why you're running.
Exactly.
And what are you, at a second run on the board, what might you be doing different this time than you did the first time around? What have you learned the first time around, and how are you going to improve it?
Well, the first time, the first 2 years.
In 1 minute or less, because we're in wrap-up mode.
Okay. Well, I had to put the house. There were no controls at all, financially speaking. Everything was through the accountant, which is absurd. So I created all kinds of controls, like spreadsheets and everything that it's in place now.
Great.
Okay, so I want to continue to manage the expenses.
Right.
You can't run a business just getting money.
Got it.
So you're going to go bankrupt very early.
All right. We have on our hands, everyone, the expense candidate. And with that, Frank, thank you so much for coming. And Len Giacone, did I get your name right?
Yes.
Len, thank you for the time and sharing your thoughts. And I wish you the best of luck in your candidacy. So thanks again for coming to Quadocast.
Thank you for your work at Quadocast. It's very important.
Appreciate that.
I appreciate your time and effort, and looking forward to the next episode.
Wonderful. All right, everyone. That's a wrap.
Thank you.